Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the Discipline Therapy Podcast with your two hosts, Suhey Sotomayor, and with me always,
Mr. EL Disciplines in the building, doing it a little bit different this time. The audio is a little bit, not like
special.
yeah. So we're on Zoom. We're also on the major listening platforms such as Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Castbox, Overcast, iHeartRadio app, and many more. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know you are fiends. So what that means is we have a dose of discipline therapy where everything is completely free. See, if you subscribe, there's no monthly fee. It's free. It's judgment-free, sucker-free, censor-free, sensitive-free, and plenty of liberty. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine, popcorn, or roll a blunt. Light one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. No lie.
Hey, I said it.
So we did it a little bit different today because
We
our
sure
guest is...
We have a special guest today.
Yes.
Our special guest, 31-year-old Jeffrey Saint Simon. I would have said San Simon because, I'm Spanish and that's how I read it. He's a Christian man, father, former Division I full scholarship athlete. That's impressive. 2010's NCAA top 20 triple jumper. I'm gonna come back to that because I don't know what a triple jumper is. So I'm gonna need you to clarify for me.
I got you.
All right. He's an entrepreneur. He owns his own company selling office equipment, copiers, printers, IT service. I'm gonna need you to give me some classes on IT stuff. I'm terrible at this. He's a high school basketball and track coach. Impressive at the Q Forest School. Where is that located? The Q Forest School.
It's in Kew Gardens, Forest Hills. It's like in the
in
border.
Queens. Okay.
Yeah, it's in Queens. Yeah, it's a private school.
Soon to be published author. He wrote a Christian fiction novel, which is set for release in the fall of 2020. I'm gonna come back and ask you about that also. See, I'm the one that asks all the questions on the show.
Yeah, it was fall 2021. Later on
2021?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, because we are in 2021. My bad.
Yeah, listen, that's good. You good. It's 2020 for me too, because still quarantine, it's still restrictions. So it's like, it's been a long year.
And you're currently writing your second project?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Nice. And you're soon to be podcast host. Your first season is set to launch January 2022. And what is that going to be about?
So it's more of an urban Christian platform. I think, me and E had this conversation at the gym a couple of weeks ago, and I feel like a lot of times people think of Christians and it's like it's just boring people, or it's always, it's just happy-go-lucky, and it's really not like that. It's literally the opposite of that.
The gym is where we met. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's funny, like we'll get into how we met. It was funny, but so it's gonna be more of a Christian urban. So like what I tell people is kind of I don't want to use other ideas to formulate, but just to turn key, it's gonna be like more of a Christian 105.1.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Something like that.
And you're also aspiring real estate investor looking to close on property in Detroit.
Yes.
What's in Detroit that we should know about?
It's just a market that I looked into. My brother's in real estate investment. He has a few investment properties. He's been telling me about it for a long time, because I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm very rigid with my schedule and the way I do things. So he's like, man, it's perfect for you. It's really streamlined. You buy the property, you rehab it, then you basically rent it out, you refinance it. And it's really, you compartmentalize every aspect of the sale. So he tells me it's perfect for me. And so I've just been doing a lot of research. I looked into Milwaukee, Cleveland's a big one. Yeah.
That must be how you guys met, because Mr. EL Discipline is big on research also.
Go ahead.
We met at the gym. And what happened is we were constantly seeing each other and just head nod or, you know what I'm saying, what up. Now, what made the attention on his part was something like, because with the whole restrictions and the COVID protocol, you have to wear a mask to go to the gym. Now, sometimes I wear my mask, or sometimes I would wear my flags. I put my flags.
Oh, yes.
The Haitian flag.
So I had the Haitian flag on, and you know what I'm saying? He was more You know,
He's like, hey, we're from the
more
same part.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
inclusive
Yeah.
where.
You tend to flock to people that you're like, oh, they're from the same area, or
So
we listen
what?
to the same thing.
So what ended
Yeah,
up
you do.
happening? I went to the station where he was at, and something just said to me, "Yo, you guys are always saying hello to each other, but it's nonverbal."
Right.
Right.
And like I'm
Why?
like,
Right.
because I said to myself, it's an alpha thing. You know what I'm saying? When you're at the gym,
Yeah.
Mm,
like I know me, and I know Jeff's the same way. You don't really want to talk. You're in the zone. I
Yep.
got
right.
my
You want
headphones
to
on.
get in and
Yep.
get out. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But something just told me like, yo, say what's up. Like I'm a type of person. If I'm seeing you constantly, like, and we're saying hello, I rather know your name versus
For sure.
Right.
ma'am or
Yeah.
sir
Just
or
the
whatever.
guy
Like,
and right.
or
Yeah.
hey sir, hey, what's going on? Like it's more of a consistent thing. So I walked
Right.
up to him, I was like, yo, what's your name or whatever. We started chopping it up. And this is why I brought him on the show. We found our organization, we have that in
Yeah.
common. The real estate thing, the author, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yo, you wear
And
so many different hats. And like I said, when young Markson was on, Haitian men are magical. So I'm like, you wear so
Yeah.
many different
yes,
hats.
she,
magical men.
I'm
Let's
like,
start from
she
the
rolled her
beginning with this
eyes.
magical man.
you wear so many hats that I'm like, yo, I want to bring you on the show, you know what I mean, so you could talk about these things,
Yeah,
talk about
reading
these
his
activities.
bio is very impressive. Now let's go back to the beginning
Thank you.
when I first read this bio. What is
Yeah.
the triple jumper?
So are you familiar with the long jump?
Is it with the stick that you run and you
Nah,
go and
so
you go all?
that's the pole vault. Okay.
God.
So now
Oh
you're
wait,
good, you're
when you
good.
run and you
And you
jump
jump
and
into
you,
the sand.
that's what you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, so that's one of the
Tremendous.
events. I did that too. But then the triple jump is some a little different. So it's a little further. The board is a little further. So they put this white mark on the floor or on the track rather. And you run and you jump off the marker with one foot. You land on that same foot
Oh
and then you
no.
jump on the other foot. Then you jump into the pan into the pit.
Oh, I have seen that. It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah. So
doom,
it's
doom, and then right then.
yeah, so
Oh,
it's a triple jump because it's three jumps. So you know, boom, 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 and then you jump into, the sand pit.
that
So
is quite impressive.
yeah,
NCAA top
it is.
20.
Yeah, I was tied 18th in the NCAA in the country in triple jump in college. So I was pretty, I was
That's
okay.
impressive.
When I was in high school, I did the 100 meters. So my team we qualified for the Island Games, which is a 4x1 relay. I raced against Usain Bolt in 2005. Then he went on to
Wow.
break the world record 3 years later, which is crazy. But yeah, it was
So
good
do you
times. It was,
still do track and all that stuff, or you just maintain your fitness at the gym like Mr.
yeah. So I'm
Discipline?
I'm, I'm retired, man. I just
He's like, no more of that.
nah, no more. I don't have the mental. It's train 6 hours a day, for an 11-second race. It's a lot of
So
You're
it's tough.
when you
you
saw
you coach
Hussein,
basketball. Go ahead.
sorry, when you saw Hussein win the gold medal, were you like, I raced against him. He's nothing big.
No, it was actually quite the opposite. So like he broke the record, I think like a month before the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'll never forget me and my brother. I was on my laptop. My boy, it was we were young on Facebook. I'm just kind of kicking time, and my brother goes, "Hey, you remember Usain Bolt?" I'm like, "The Jamaican." He goes, "Yeah, he broke the world record." I'm like,
Wow.
"No way."
Come on.
Like there's no way, and he showed me the race and I'm just like, what? He broke it actually in New York at the Reebok games at Icon Stadium, which is like a little island that they have a track.
Mm,
And then the Olympics were coming up, Beijing, and then he shattered the world record, like beating his chest before he finishes the race. And I'm just like, yo, this dude is different. So but he
very
was always a
different.
strong runner, so it wasn't surprising, but it was just surprising how young he was. He was only like 4 years older than me, so it's like I'm 19, he's 24. I'm just like, yo, this guy's, killing it. So
Amazing. Yeah. So
yeah, so he's a great athlete though.
you're also a high school basketball and track coach.
Yes, yeah. So I coach track at the Q4 school, and then I coach basketball. I'm the varsity head coach for the boys. We had a good year before quarantine, like a month before quarantine, our season had ended. We won the division champs.
How has that affected like the sports teams and all that stuff? Like I know how it's affected the academic areas
Yeah, yeah,
in
definitely.
education. How has it affected the sports, areas in school, the
For
pandemic and stuff?
for the high school, well, for the high school that I'm at, we didn't have a season last year.
Oh.
Even after Cuomo gave New York the green light to play sports, it's a shortened, condensed season. So I think it was only like 5 weeks. And the school didn't want to make the preparations for the season. So our
Mm.
school opted not to do that. So the conference that we're in, which is the Private School Athletic Association, they gave all the schools pretty much their own decision if they wanted to play or not. I'm kind of glad they didn't, because
I was
my top,
about to say, I tip my hat
yeah,
off to you guys for not doing that, because I'm hearing, now that they've started up some, in sports, like some sports, basketball, that's kind of close,
it is,
contact.
yeah, definitely.
Wrestling, that stuff is really close contact. And you're hearing a lot of athletes that have returned to that, contracting the virus now. So it's
Yeah,
good that you guys had stopped.
I actually still coach though. I coach AAU basketball, which is a travel. So I coach a different Long Island Boys to Men. That's the program that I coach with. And so during the fall, I coached the 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. So they had one team for them. So it was a little
Wow.
different. There were loopholes though, because we were able to practice because we're in Long Island, not New York City. So we're
Mm-hmm.
under a little bit different guidelines. So we have more leeway. So we were able to host practice, but we didn't play any games in New York because obviously New York didn't allow us to play. So we traveled to Pennsylvania a couple times,
Wow.
Massachusetts, and this season coming up, we're going to Vegas. We're going to Orlando because some other states are opening up now. But
Now, how do
we
you
were
keep
still.
I'm sorry, how do you keep your players safe? Do they have to wear a mask also?
Yeah, so they wear a mask. When you get to the facility, they check your temperature, which is pretty basic. But then you have to wear the mask throughout the complex because most of them are very, very big, like locations. They have like 18 courts. They're massive.
Wow.
Athletic facilities. So, but once you play, so some kids play with the mask. My recommendation, most of the parents are okay with me telling the kids to do that. I tell them don't play with the mask because you're constantly putting it up and down to catch breath. You're touching your face.
Yeah,
So
That's true.
don't play
That's
with the
true.
mask. The worst case
and as far
worst
as the
case
breathing,
scenario, if one of the
Mm-hmm.
kids do have it, you may or may not get it, but if you then get it, if you touch him and you're touching your face, now you're giving your chance a higher risk to do so.
yeah,
So one of the things that I did, anytime I sub you in or sub you out of the game, I brought hand sanitizer just in case. But every facility had hand sanitizer, so I never had to use it. But I used to bring a big bottle of hand sanitizer just in case. I put it next to me on the scores
Mm, on the
table.
bench.
So once they check in, sanitize. Once you check out, sanitize. And thankfully, none of our kids ended up getting it. None of the
Thank
kids'
God.
parents ended up getting it. I didn't get it. So and I got tested multiple times because I, took a couple of vacations too. So I never ended up with it. Thank you. So just very thankful and fortunate. I know some
for
teams weren't as fortunate; their seasons got canceled or whatever the case may be.
Mm,
But I just told them just take the precaution that the medical people give you, and just hope for the best. So because you
mm.
could get it in New York, you could get it at the grocery store. You
yeah,
could get it.
for for
You get
So
anywhere.
yeah,
for aerobic sports, like it shouldn't be required because you're
The mask.
constantly, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
anaerobic sports, like if it was like baseball or if you were
hmm
like at the
right,
gym or whatever, you're taking some breaks. But
right.
aerobic sports like long distance running,
hmm
lacrosse, soccer, basketball,
Yeah,
you know
they're
what I'm saying?
breathing
It's
Yeah,
heavy,
the
and you're like,
breathing heavy.
and the
yeah.
mask
And
goes
you're
in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sweating.
So I'm
So
yeah.
you're sweating. They're wiping their face.
I'm
It's like,
aware I'm aware I'm
Hold on.
aware that you have a son.
Yeah. I have a
Um
6-year-old son.
Oh, how nice. Is he in
Yeah,
Now,
sports?
and he plays
he
football.
is. Yeah, so he
Oh,
actually has his first football practice right now. That's why we had to push the podcast
Yeah.
up because his first football practice today. The team had practice last week, but I was on vacation, so I wasn't able to bring him. So I spoke to the coach, and today's his first
oh,
practice.
okay.
So he's ecstatic. But
Excited?
they actually postponed the season to fall, but they're still practicing during spring and summer without pads. So
Oh, okay. Just to
so
get
this
him
is his
used
first
to.
year. Yeah, he's been asking me to play since he was 4, and we
Oh,
were on the
wow.
train. We were on the train. I was coming back from the city. I was with him, and there was this coach. He coaches in Patchogue, which is a city in Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Hey, I would just sign." I was like, "Oh, he's 4." He's like, "Oh my God, he's bigger than some kids on my team. I love him to play." And he's like, "Yeah, I want to play. I want to play." And I'm just like,
Do you watch football with him? Is that how he got into the sport?
Um, yes, but not all the time, because he's young, so he's not gonna sit. He has
Right.
sat and watched the whole game with me, but I don't really
Wow.
sit and watch a whole game unless it's a big game. Most of the time I catch the first half, and if it's a good game, I'll stick around. I'll do some stuff for halftime and come back. But I'm not unless it's like NBA Finals or Super Bowl, I don't sit and watch the entire game. Yesterday he and I watched the Georgetown basketball game. A friend of mine is one of the assistants there, so
Oh wow.
we watched that, and afterwards he's like, all right, let's play chess. I'm like, all right, cool.
So he watched the basketball game, and then he was like, let's play chess.
Yeah. He's an interesting kid. Yeah.
He sure sounds interesting. Let's get him on the show.
I'm ready to
he would love it.
I'm ready to ask Alpha questions. Are you
go ahead,
done,
man.
Sue? Or
no, I want to know
ahead.
what the Christian novel is going to be about.
Go ahead.
So the Christian novel, it's about a man. So when he was a kid, his mother was murdered in front of him. And then he grows up in a foster home, and then he becomes a teacher later on in life. And there's a young girl in his class that's growing up in the same foster home that he grew up in. So during this process, he has interest in her, obviously, and he's looking to adopt her, going through the school system and going to the state. But then he finds out that her biological father is the man that murdered his mom.
Oh my God!
When is
this coming out?
So I have meetings. So it's funny. Either when did we see? I seen you on Thursday, right? It was Wednesday. It was
Wednesday.
So Wednesday.
Both days.
Yeah, it was
I went
both
to the
days.
gym.
Yeah,
Went to the gym both days.
So it's funny on Thursday when so Thursday. So I have a friend of mine who's a lawyer. He coaches soccer at the school that I coach at, and so he's going to be helping me through the process and everything. So so we may actually have to push the September date to January. Because I was telling I want to self-publish it, but at the same time I want to see what what's out there, the interest level. Because if it's good enough, we'll see what happens.
We're gonna talk about that because there's benefits to self-publishing, and there's also benefits to traditional.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and as far as like what you're looking for, if you're looking for more rights, more more royalties, if you're looking for more of a promotion, more, you know what I'm saying. So there's different technicalities.
There's pros and cons on both sides.
We'll talk about.
Do you have a publishing company already in mind that you're working with, or you haven't gotten to that step yet?
There are two publishers that are interested. One of them I sent them the first manuscript, but then COVID hit. Then the second one during COVID, I think it was in like April or May. So just about last year, this time, they reached out to me for the second manuscript, which I sent to them in I think it was November. I haven't heard back, but I will, I'll contact them and see what their liking is. So we'll see. I don't want to rush it, because I told E, man, if worst case scenario, I'll publish it myself. I'll dish out some money and kind of just see what happens, just to get the project out there.
But I have some publishers. So I have some publishers.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, Mr. EL Discipline with your 7 books.
He told me, I was like, yo, you wrote because I heard some of the other shows. I'm like, 7 books? Like, what? He's like, man, I released like 4 in 1 year. I was like, what?
Like, not only that, but he could remember his chapters. He could remember, show number 3 from season 1. I can't even remember what I did 2 days ago. So
I'm kind of the same way.
When you send your manuscript to publishers for them to evaluate or whatever, always send it in PDF form.
Yeah,
so they can't. Aware of it.
Yeah,
so they can't alter it.
Yeah,
I'm always paranoid. I'm always paranoid, so I'm always protecting myself. So protect yourself, because sometimes people, they're out there, they're very sneaky.
Yeah,
they make millions to come up with ideas, and they suck.
They're stealing it from other people.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
they're going through other
he told me the
people's
same
Instagram.
thing.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that.
The first manuscript, which was only, I think it was 4 chapters. I sent it out. This was in February. It was in February, so it was before COVID had really became pandemic. I sent that out in regular Word, and then my friend who's the attorney, he's like, no, send it in PDF.
Take it back.
I got you. Yeah. So, but it was only the first couple chapters, so it wasn't alarming for me. But so that's that's what the book is about. He's a Christian man, so now when he finds out, he has to really wrestle with some demons now and kind of see how he can handle that. He has to really trust in his walk in faith to kind of navigate through those waters. So we'll see.
That sounds like a really good book. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, everyone's been telling me that. Yeah.
But now
I know. Go ahead.
We're gonna talk about the investing in real estate soon, because that's what I want to do in the future. We're
Yes.
gonna
Yeah,
talk
for
about
sure.
that off camera. You know what I'm
I'm down,
saying?
man.
It's
I'm
just
down.
gonna take too much time. I want to get
I
into
want
the
to be
alpha
involved in that.
questions.
Yes, let's get to the
Okay.
alpha
I
questions
want to get
because
into the alpha
I deal
questions.
with Mr. EL Discipline, who's very alpha.
Now, you have a son who
Yeah,
plays a collision sport,
right.
and I think that's very alpha.
Yeah,
Now, I also know that you're Haitian, and a lot
yeah,
of Haitian men are dominant and alpha. Now, I want to know, because you're also Americanized, we're also
yeah.
Americanized. I want
Mhm.
to know that, are you are you raising your son to be alpha, or are you also raising him to have Haitian values or American values?
Um,
That's a good question.
yeah, he told me that we was talking about that at the gym. I think it was last week, and I think it's subjective, right? So like alpha for me, I get all the time when people meet me, they go, "Oh, you're not what I thought you were," and I'm like, kind of like, what do you mean by that? And I think the common denominator usually is because I'm 6'3", I'm 250, I have an athletic build. So when they think I have like this Barry White deep voice and I'm this, football player. And I'm like, yeah, I played football in high school. I haven't played since, but because of my demeanor, and usually because I work in sales, I'm usually in a suit. So they think I'm like this attorney or whatever the case may be. And so they kind of give me this alpha persona or
You're
optic.
physically, you're
They're already
physically,
holding you in high
Yeah.
regard.
you're
Yeah. So
physically
I think it's
alpha.
it's all optics.
Yeah, you're
And then when they
physically
see
alpha.
how laid back I am, they're like, "Oh, you're really like chill." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not." So I think from with my son, like he somewhat has a similar because
Build.
he has a presence when he walks into a room. Like when I walk in a room, like I'm like laid back. I don't, I'm not like walk in and everyone turns heads type thing, right? But when my son walks in, he literally lights up the entire room. He's the center of attention all the time. So he has like an alpha, uh, but it's
Presence. He
more,
has an
yeah,
alpha
it's
He
presence.
has
more
a
of a
mini alpha
presence.
presence.
Presence. Yeah.
Yeah, and but he takes charge, and he's very. One thing I love about him is that he's into everything, and I don't want to hold him back. I don't want to kind of pigeonhole him into, yo, you
Hmm.
should be like this, because
Right.
Okay.
I want him to,
Let him find his path.
yeah, I think a lot of parents do, because me and E was talking about this, especially for Caribbean parents. They kind of, this is my reality. This should be your reality too.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
For
Hmm.
me, I grew up with both my parents in the house. Me and my son's mom are not together, but he's not going to be, there's not going to be no short in love at all,
Right.
and I tell him constantly every single day, "I love you, man." Kiss him. And randomly he'll kiss me in the cheek. "I love you, pops." So it's more of this is your life is going to be your life, and how I'm going to raise you to be the best. I'm going to give you all the tools possible. And then you make that decision when you get there. If he wants to be a
Mm.
super alpha male, that's great. If he wants to be a kickback alpha,
Now
that's
let me
fine
ask you a
too,
question because I know I'm Hispanic, so I come
Mhm.
Latin background, and with Latin men just like black men, and I don't know which other minority races, men are taught not to cry.
Right.
Crying is for women. You
Yeah.
stand tough, hold it in.
Hmm.
I don't agree with that myself.
Yeah.
I think that if you're sad or you're hurt and it's a time and a moment to cry, then even if you're a man or a woman or a boy or a girl, you should cry, acknowledge those feelings and let it go.
Right.
Most men though, especially older generation men, like I would say up to yours and EL Discipline's generation and back, I think men have been taught don't cry. Are you
Yeah.
raising your son the same way, or are you allowing him to,
Um,
explore those emotions?
half and half. Uh,
Okay.
I don't let him pout, but I'll let him cry. My
So
dad was in the Haitian.
if he's upset over it, you can cry, but you can't carry on with the face and stomp around the house. Is
Yeah,
that what you're saying? Okay.
yeah. Because like my dad was in the Haitian military, so my dad is very
Oh,
militant. Um, and that's how I grew up. Yo, shut up. Like,
right.
ain't no
Don't cry. What are you
crying.
doing? Right.
And, and I'm cool with it, because I was an athlete, and it's just next play. Like you
Mm-hmm.
drop the pass, you miss a shot, next shot, turn the book, move, and my son's not the same way. And in the beginning, obviously I tell people all the time, you're pretty much an extension of your parents. You know, so when my son was younger, like 1 and 2 years old, I was like that with him. Like if he falls, just get up, just, you know.
Mm.
And I realized being a coach, you study him, and I'm like, he doesn't respond well to that, you know. So
Mm.
I gave
That
him a
I'm
little
happy
bit.
that you said that, because as a parent, I feel, and I only, my kids are older now, and I just started realizing this now. Poor kids. But you know, it's good that you take a step back and you're watching him like you would do
Yeah,
your the kids that you coach, to see
yeah,
how to
you
reach
got
him.
to.
I don't think a lot of, you know, parents just think, I'm just gonna, you know, tell them not to do it and they're supposed to stop. But
Yeah,
I'm happy that you brought that point up.
like you know, like I said, and I'm glad I caught it on early. But even the
Yeah.
first 2 years, you know, it's never enough. These first 2 years, like, oh man, I could have been a better parent first 2 years, you know. So you know, you put a lot of
First
pressure on
two
yourself
years.
too. But you know, but my son's 6, so that's a third of his life. You know what I
My
mean?
kids are
So
20 and 23, and I tell
that's
Mr.
wild.
Discipline all the time, why couldn't I have figured this out like 10 years ago?
Nah, life is about education, you know, and you know, so that's, you know, me and E was talking about that. You just gotta research, you gotta study. Like I read parenting books, I've read, you know,
Yeah.
one of the jokes that I made is I've never been a parent before, so I got to learn how to do it, right? So
I
kids
still
don't
say
come
that.
out. Yeah, kids don't, because even though your kids are 20, they're still kids. They're still your kids. No matter how
Yeah.
old your children are, they're still going to be your kids. Like
Yes.
there could be 50 years old. I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to ask either. No matter how old your kids are, they're going to be your kids. And, you know,
Yep.
so you're still going to yell at them. You're still going to, you know, smack them. Like, how you make this mistake? And, but you have to understand they're still learning too. And,
Yes.
you know, so you know, I was very big on it. I wanted my son to have his own personality. And, you know, if he falls, I'll ask him, are you hurt? No, okay. He's like that. He'll fall and he'll like kind of look at me like, I'm okay, but I want you to ask. You know, it's like, are you all
Right.
right? I'm good. Okay, God, cool. Let's go. You know, like,
I think
but if he hurts, go ahead.
I think he's gonna grow up to be strong. You
Yeah,
know
for
what I'm
Mm.
sure.
saying? Because I believe that, you know, like when I have kids one day, like I'm teaching them that. Like
Yeah, you got to.
I'm not teaching them to cry. Now,
Hmm.
if there's certain circumstances or relatives passed away or whatever it is, then it's fine for you to cry. It's fine for you to
Yeah,
have empathy. You see somebody on homeless or whatever. But if you're crying because your boss is whatever or you're
yeah,
mad at life, no, that's not good. Because when he
yep.
builds a foundation and he has a wife one day,
Hmm.
it's gonna be natural for the woman to do that, because eventually the woman is, she might be strong, she's gonna have her weak moments and she's gonna come
Yeah,
to you. And if you are
yep.
not able to give her that
Share.
strength
You got to
and
hold
you're
both
crying all the
shoulders.
time, the foundation is broken in the
Yeah.
household.
But that's why I
So
think as fathers to young men, I feel like it's important that you teach them how to recognize those emotions that they're
Hmm.
feeling at that
Yep.
moment. Because kids, starting from little, even adults that I've met that haven't, you know, learned that about themselves, they're always gonna, you know, react in a negative way if they
Yeah.
can't recognize what they're feeling and then acknowledge it.
see, I
One thing
love
that I've
that.
realized.
I'm sorry. I love that you have your son playing sports, because one thing
Mm,
Yeah.
about sports is it's teaching you discipline, it's teaching
Yeah.
you hard
Discipline.
work, it's teaching you character,
exactly.
it's teaching you leadership.
Yeah. I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying?
It's teaching you how to lose gracefully
Yeah.
if you do
Yep.
lose.
And my
Yes,
son's competitive.
100%.
You know, like even yesterday, I'm not gonna take it easy on him. So my
yes.
son plays chess. He plays checkers. You know, he likes to race. Even when I pick him from the bus stop, he goes, "Who's the first to get to the stairs?" You know, like, and will race up half a block to the house, right? Like,
Oh
so
no.
he's very, very, very competitive to the point where I had to like some things you
Does he
don't
get
compete
that from
in.
you or from his mom?
I would say for me,
He's
because
a
I was an athlete. No, I mean, but I think I think it was just natural for him. You know, he might some. I think one time he's like, "Who's
What
gonna finish that water first?" I'm like, "Nah, we ain't doing that."
what
Because
is
Oh
I,
the
my
mo-
I
gosh.
don't.
what is the
You know,
mother's nationality?
she's Jamaican.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
two strong genes. Two strong genes. What type of women are you into? Are you into alpha female,
Um.
submissive women, old
Oh,
fashioned
it's
women,
good.
old
Yo,
school,
you killing me, dog.
Nationality, any
family oriented
this
women?
is what
Yo.
happens when you come onto the discipline therapy
Do you
podcast.
have a race preference?
Oh,
So
nice.
I don't. See, you trying to get me in trouble, man. I
With
don't have a
who?
race. I don't have a race preference per se, um, but I am into women of color. Whether you know, my girlfriend now is Dominican. Um, in the past, if you look at, I guess, if you look at the trajectory of who I've dated, most of them have been African American. Um, but one thing I did do, because I've been single for 5 years prior to my girlfriend last year. We
Wow.
started dating last year, right before quarantine hit. Just started talking, and we became friends, and obviously she's my girlfriend now. But before that, I've been single for 5 years since basically my son's mom. And you date here and there, just to kind of just chill, I guess. But my pastor, he was like, listen, man, you got to know who you want to be with. And I also have another mentor of mine who basically told me, write down a list of the women that you want. And I made a list. I made a list of what I wanted, characteristics. One thing I did find was, family is a big thing. How they were raised was a big thing, because that carries on later on to things that you
Does
don't see.
religion play a big thing for you?
For me, yeah, I would say
It
so.
does.
I have Christian friends that are okay with dating someone either in a different religion or someone that doesn't believe in God. I find I can't. It's tough for me to do that.
Okay.
Because it could become a barrier. Little speed bumps now could literally become barriers later on.
Red flags.
And yes, and not that the person's good or bad. It's just you're not
Right.
the person for me. And
Mm-hmm.
there's someone out there for you. It's just I'm not that individual. So that was one thing that I looked at, what are some of the little speed bumps that I'm running into now, because they become bigger problems later on. I see, different older relationships, like me and you talked about this at the gym. Like a lot of times older couples, they just kind of become living partners. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I want to
Absolutely.
have a fulfilled life with someone
Yeah.
that I'm with. I want to become best friends. I want to, hey, let's go here, let's travel,
And I think the biggest misconception is once you get in a relationship, things have to stop. Like you have to live your marriage a certain way because like
Exactly.
Obama and Michelle lived their marriage this way
Yep.
or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So you gotta live
Mm-hmm.
it like them. Or you gotta
Mm-hmm.
do this, or you can't do that. But it doesn't matter about how they live it. It's about the
How
Yep.
you do it.
congruent.
How you do
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
Because
see,
like,
because a lot of
there's
people think
this,
they're losing benefits too.
yeah,
That's
Yes.
probably why a lot of men
especially
like
in this generation.
yeah, I feel like I'm we're gonna bring you in for another topic, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like men control marriage and relationships because
They do. They the temperature of it.
a man, I want you to be my wife. Like men are doing that. About 99% of them are doing that. 1% of women in history probably have done that.
In
But
Right.
history.
you understand what I'm saying? Where she's
Yeah.
proposing to you, but most of the
Yeah.
time, a man is saying, "Oh, I want you to be my wife. Will you marry me?" You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like women control access to sex, and if
Hmm.
they want to bring another life in this
This is for a
world,
different topic, sir.
no, it's not.
I thought we were bringing him in for that.
No, that's a different topic.
Okay.
I
So
know
wait,
what you
can I
mean though.
ask you,
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
this the first Hispanic woman that you've gotten with? The Dominican?
Um, yeah, I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, like
Is
I've met and went out with like other Hispanic women, but she's the first Spanish girlfriend. Yeah,
is there, do
yeah.
you
So,
notice like a difference in how she is compared to like other women that you've been with?
um, well, yeah, for sure. That was one thing that drew me to her. We actually met at the club,
At
which is funny.
like a club
An
like
actual
where you
club club.
dance? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I
damn,
was
that
out
was
with my
way before
yeah.
that was way
It
before
was
quarantine.
a month before quarantine. So I met her the day after Valentine's Day last year.
Okay.
And it was like a day party at a club, and it was at a lounge in the city. Me and my boy was like, yeah, let's just go. And we went. I met her. We started talking. We exchanged numbers, and we text one day a week. Then it became 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Then we went on our first date actually 2 weeks before everything closed down. And then when we had our second date set up, the restaurant called me. It was like, hey, we're shutting down for 2 weeks. You can make another
Sorry about your
reservation in
date.
2 weeks. Yeah, right. And I was like, yeah, no problem. It is what it is. I kind of seen it coming. Obviously NBA was shutting down and all this other stuff. And um, then after that, it was like, we didn't have, we couldn't see each other really. So we were just texting. And, then we have like weekly FaceTime dates, and it just became more and more as time went on. So
Now,
um,
is she an alpha woman? Is she more timid? Is she
yeah, no,
submissive?
she's
She's
alpha.
alpha.
Yeah, she's alpha. Yeah, like which is pretty cool. Like like me, I was telling E, I think the alpha is subjective, like, like I mentioned earlier. But everyone's an alpha in their own rights. I'm not the type to come in like, oh, rah, 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 look at me. I'm just a leader where it's like, I'm just gonna do it first. Like
Mm.
my coach, if we're at a basketball game and, there's another guy on another team scoring a lot of points, my coach probably yell out, "We need someone to guard him. Put me in, coach. I'll do it. I'll guard him. Or if I'm already in, I got him. You know what I mean? So I think that's an alpha trait, but it's not an alpha where it's like I'm walking around like I'm the best defender in the world. Like, but
Mm.
if something needs to be done, give it to me. I'll do it. You know what I mean? And same thing with sales. If we're on a sales team and someone's slacking and we need this to hit our bonus, all right, I'll do a little bit extra. And make
So
sure we
you
get that.
rise to the
So
occasion.
yeah, and I think it's just natural leadership traits or maybe
Mm-hmm.
just sports or athletic or competitive nature. I don't know what it is, but and she's the same way. She has a goal and she just started trading options and she's like, I want to make this amount of money before the year is out. And she's very driven focused and looking to pursue a career and so I'm happy for her and she's doing good too.
Now, does she have the
Good.
same religious beliefs as you?
I was about to
Yes,
ask you.
yeah, she does, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me
So
ask you a question. Let's say your son is older now and
mhm,
he's, has been talking to a girl and now they're getting serious.
right.
She's not of the same religion. As a matter of fact, she's not any religion. She doesn't not believe in it, but she's like, "Ma, I don't really care either way." What advice would you tell your son? Because that is a
Um
potential speed bump, no?
So I would give him the same advice that I was given. Listen, know what you want and take what you get, right? Make a list of the women that you want, and you should have the non-negotiables on there. If religion is a non-negotiable,
Would it upset
then
you if your son, didn't care one way or another if his mate, had a religious preference?
it wouldn't upset me because it's not up to me. I'm not God, you know. As a Christian, I would just pray on it, and who He wants to. I think there's actually a verse in Philippians. I don't know the actual scripture, but lead a kid to God, to the religion, and they'll always come back, right? So you just teach him the ways, and he makes his own decision at that point. Especially in the United States, once he's 18, he's legal anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
you're technically allowed to date whoever you want to date. I can't step in on that. So but I think one thing for me is make your list of what you want, make the non-negotiables. If she has to be a Christian to date, then she's not. Then obviously, then date her if it's a non-negotiable. If it isn't a
Mm-hmm.
non-negotiable, then date her and see what happens. And but that's what it brought us back to what we were talking about earlier, where every children or every person will have to have their own reality. I can't, tell my son, hey, this is what I did. You have to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've dated women that weren't really into Christianity like that. Obviously, it didn't lead to anything serious, but it's just every person will go through their own life. They have to learn. Life is a learning experience. The only thing that we
Mm-hmm.
can pray is that the mistakes that we make don't leave permanent scars. So that's pretty much it. I don't want to try to pigeon like you need to date, a black woman, you need to date a white woman. That's just man, whatever
Those
shorty
stand
floats your boat, man.
those
You know what I
those
mean? Go for it.
standards, those standards and what you have in common are imperative because like you
Mm-hmm.
said, there are certain women that you'll date, but you know that it won't go anywhere.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's certain women that you want to get to know, but if something that you value the most is a deal breaker for them, then you know that there's an expiration date.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I think that for me, I have standards as well, high standards. You know, but like right now, I don't have any children. If I meet a woman who's perfect in all ways that I'm looking for, perfect for me. Let me reiterate, perfect for me. Not perfect for everybody else, but just perfect for me in all ways. But she has a child. I'm gonna have to bite that bullet, and you know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's not it's not that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? I feel
Right.
like it's gonna be hard for you
It's
to
not a
find.
deal breaker for you.
Yeah, it's gonna
Exactly.
be
The
hard for you to find
non-negotiables.
because I want
That's
to
what it
have
comes down
because I
to.
want to have kids
Mm-hmm.
one day. So
Hmm.
if I didn't, then that would be a deal breaker. No matter what
Right.
else, everything else, that one thing, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I feel like we all need that. There's a lot of going with the flows, you know what I'm saying, in this generation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know what it is too, man? Like it's because of social media too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you
yeah,
can
we
use it as
we
a good
talked we
tool.
we talked about it in the gym. Yeah.
Yeah, man, because a lot of times I'm not trying to be Suhaib, forgive me, but there's a
Ooh,
there's a lot of, huh?
no, go ahead. I was like, ooh, you're gonna say something bad?
No, it's not that. It's not bad, but the thing is, a lot of women are naked on social media, right? So
Preach, brother.
men,
Or
Preach.
or
m-
close,
Preach.
damn near
are
naked. That's
close
for
to,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
or better yet, let me rephrase that. A
Preach.
lot of women fulfill fantasies for the men with what they post online. I
Yes.
apologize. So forgive me.
No, I don't
But
do it. I don't care.
so, but no, but what I mean is, so for the men, they have access to that. So their eye isn't pure for the woman that they're with. So if I want to
Oh,
go, get some fantasy and look at somewhere else, all I gotta do is swipe. And social media, the algorithm's gonna put the pictures that I like the most for you to
yep.
see, to expand that, right? So it always comes down to what you're willing to negotiate and what you're willing to non-negotiate. If someone that you're with can't be with only just you, and that's a non-negotiable, we can't be together. If it
Mm,
comes down to religion, we can't be together. If it's children, like we talked about, then we can't be together. But if it's a not a non-negotiable, then that's okay. We can work through that and let's see what happens. But then in today's day and age, there's so many distractions. You can't even get that from somebody, because they don't even
mm.
know what they want to begin with. Women, and especially social media, people repost and reshare. Women talk about it all the time. I want a man that has energy for me. That's gonna text me every day. But then by month two, you're gonna be like, damn, you don't got nobody else to text. And it's like, didn't you just ask for that? You finally got it. Now you're telling the guy that you've been praying for, or looking
Has
for.
that happened to you? Like, have you been texting somebody and they're like, "What the hell? Give me a minute."
Not really,
Hold up. Hold
So
up.
then, how you could say
Hold
that?
hold on.
because I've seen it.
I wanna
Oh,
One
say
okay.
example.
this.
Hold
I,
up, nah. Let
I,
me answer this real quick because I know she ain't gonna finna press me. Now,
Oh,
one example I've seen during the quarantine, well, not quarantine, but during the COVID pandemic, was Russell Wilson and Sierra.
yeah.
And she did this. She did a live, I think, and what one thing she said was, "I prayed for him. I just didn't know who he was till he came to the picture." And then women go off, went viral. I'm looking for my Russell Wilson. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. And I'm like, these are my friends, right? So I'm like, I know the kind of guys you dated. I know the kind of guys you've been
He's
listen.
the guy.
introduced to. You never gave them a
I've
chance.
seen it.
Like, you know what I'm
Listen,
saying?
brother.
I've seen it. So it's
Listen,
like,
brother.
you know what I
Listen,
mean? And
brother. We spoke of this. 98% of women are
yeah,
followers. 2% are alpha, where they don't run in a pack, where they don't, oh, I want that celebrities thing. My girlfriend's doing this. Why aren't we doing this?
yeah.
98% of them are followers.
And in your last show, I think you talked about it, where women, they're protected on social media, so they'll shoot their shot, but in real life, they'll never shoot their shot. They'll
It's a
never say hi
different
to the man.
energy.
They'll never,
I'm happy that you
yeah.
saw that episode because I was that 1%.
Loyalty
Just
and
Oh,
saying.
trust.
okay, okay. She said I'm built
Loyalty
like
and
that.
trust. That's right.
Yeah, but
Baby.
I want to save this, man. I want to save it because I want to
Nah,
bring
yeah,
you.
we say, well,
I
yeah,
want to
whatever.
bring you
I'll save it. I'll
in.
save
I
it.
want to bring you in the studio for like a good topic where we
I'm
could
with it,
talk
man.
about
Whatever
stuff
you
like
want,
this.
bro.
I'm
But
definitely gonna have to bring my boxing gloves if I'm gonna be with him and you.
Nah,
Two
nah.
two
I'm,
Haitian alpha
I'm,
males. I can take you
nah.
both
I'm
on.
pretty.
he's
I'm
neutral.
pretty even.
He's
Yeah, I'm
neutral.
neutral.
He's neutral.
He knows. He
Now,
knows.
now
I'm
He
neutral.
didn't
listen.
sound too neutral.
Now
He was
listen.
No,
like, "Oh no, let me answer her
but it
because
goes
she
for
ain't
men
gonna do
too.
that."
No, no, no. Because it goes for men too. I have friends that literally. I have one friend of mine. So when we were freshmen in high school, there was one girl that he liked, and he chased her for 2 years. They finally
No.
became girlfriend boyfriend our junior year, and then they were broken up. So then they dated senior year. In our first year in college, they broke up because he just couldn't stop seeing other women. And it's like, so it's the same thing, right? Like, you chase the woman, you know what you wanted, you
You got her,
finally got it,
and then you
then you
fuck it
let
up.
it go, right? So it goes for both. I'm not,
Yes.
he knows I'm neutral. I just go by the facts, and so yeah. But
The facts.
hey, man,
We're
numbers
big
So
don't
on
lie.
facts here.
I know
Numbers don't
that
lie.
you
Check the
have to.
scoreboard.
I know that you have to pick up your son soon. I
Yeah, so
wanted to.
we good. We got some time.
Okay, I wanted to ask you what your goals and aspirations are pertaining to your business, where you want to take it. Um, what do you look for as far as like what do you think of your novel coming out? Do you see film? Do
Oh,
you like what are your goals? What are your
The
goals?
so the last publisher that I spoke with in November, he had mentioned trying to do like a series. So
Ooh.
for TV, because obviously it's has somewhat Hollywood build to it, the storyline. So he did tell me that. That's when he actually introduced to me. He was like, hey, you could look to get an agent. That's one of the things that you can do afterwards, after the book comes out, but you got to release some content. So I was like, let me start writing my second book. And um, so
Wait,
I don't
your
necessarily,
second book, is it
yes,
like a sequel to the first or totally different?
it's different, but I do have a sequel that I'm doing. So the second book, I'm thinking of just doing an ebook. So I'm actually just
Okay.
writing to see uh, how it could stick and how I could put it out. But there's gonna be a sequel and a prequel to the book that I have.
Oh, a
Um,
prequel too. Oh,
yeah.
all
So
right.
so the one that I'm writing now, so it's a man he's a really successful. Ironically, we're talking about real estate. He's a real estate agent. He's the number one real estate agent basically in the country. Super successful. And then what happens is he kind of falls into his own that actually leads to his own demise, right? Like he has all this money, he's distracted, super distracted, and he's going outside of his wife and meeting with other women, doing these things, and he falls into drugs and he really can't pick himself up. And the doctor that he's seeing is basically trying to convince him to accept God and walk into Christianity, accept the life of the religion, so that he can walk into a clean path. And but then he struggles with that, and then because of the wrestling that he has to do mentally, he looks to take his own life.
Oh my.
But that changes everything for him. That changes whole perspective, and you just got I can't give too much away,
No,
but
no, definitely don't. But let me ask you this:
so
how are you getting your inspiration to write these books? Is it just your imagination, or is it loosely
yeah,
based
that's
on people that you've known?
no. So a lot of people have asked me that. It's really just my own, really. Like I'm just always thinking. Like I'm just always thinking. I'm always even when I was a young kid, like I wrote a comic book when I was about 10 years old. I gotta look for that. I don't know where it is for the life of me. I gotta find it. Just always had somewhat of a creative mind, and um, it just came to a point where it's like I'm older now. It's like let me, with social media now, so much
Mm-hmm.
access, so much research. Like let me just see what happens, and that's kind of how it started, really. The book so the book that I did write, I had that idea probably about like almost 6, 7 years ago, and I just never did anything. And
Mm-hmm.
one day I was telling one of my boys about it. He's like, "Yo, you should really write a book. I have a friend of mine that wrote a book, and you could. It's hard, I'm sure, but you should do it."
Right.
And at the time, I was obviously dating my son's mom, and so she was telling me the same thing. Hey, why don't you write it? You should write it. See what happens. And I'm like, ah, cool. But I never did until 2 years ago. So,
Mm.
and I was just kind of home one day, and I was like, let me write an outline. Just take the first step, right? And I wrote the chapter, the outlines, and I kind of just sat on it for a couple months, and then maybe like 6 months later, I wrote chapter one. Then I wrote chapter two, and then I think I had like 4 or 5 chapters, and I didn't really touch it for another 3 months. And then quarantine hit, and I was like, I got all this time. And next thing you know, I dedicated 2 hours a day to either writing an
Wow,
outline or
good for
adjusting it.
you.
And next thing you know, I wrote it in about 6, 7 months, and it was pretty easy because the idea has been boiling and growing and pregnant in my mind for so long. So it felt easy. The second book is really hard because it's from scratch, so it's like,
Yeah, you're
so
like,
I have
what the
to,
heck? Yeah.
yeah, like I have to readjust and I have to rewrite this chapter, and so but I'm learning though, so that's the exciting part about it. So it's really just in my mind, just different ideas, and um I
Just
guess
getting
just
it out
inspiration
there.
from everything too. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I have, excuse me, I have different muses that like Stephen King and Tyler Perry, and
Yeah,
so just different
discipline.
people that I've, yeah, yeah, right.
Shameless
So
plug. See, I got your back.
his books are a little wild though. Like his books are
They're
off the chart.
crazy. They're
he was,
crazy.
he's like, yeah, man, I write erotica books. I'm like, what? Like, yo. And
The
I
the
saw some of
only
the
Oh
book,
yeah.
pictures, and
the
it's, I'm
Oh.
only
like, yo,
yeah, the only book that is very clean, profanity free, self help, the importance of
yeah.
discipline. I mean
Yes.
that's a book that like yourself, a Christian man, we want to read.
Well, I
Corporate.
read the other stuff too, man. Like,
He's like, I read it. Mm-hmm.
listen, that's what I'm saying, man. Like a lot of people think because you're Christian, you're not, and
Yes.
that's
There
what it comes down to. It's like, man, like,
you're just a
like,
regular human being.
yeah,
You're just
like one
Christian.
of the things, exactly. So one of the
Yeah.
things that I realized is there's a platform. I'm not gonna say the name because they don't pay me, but there's a platform that has Christian movies, and it's kind of like a Netflix, but you can watch Christian movies. And I remember I watched the movie that was on there just for the hell of it because it was good. And I'm like, this is the best thing we got to offer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's gotta be,
Something
not
better.
every story is this super, winning story. Like, yo, there are people that, that go through it, so
Yeah. Regular people that go through it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
You don't
that
gotta
was one of
be,
the things.
from the hood and a drug dealer coming up.
Exactly.
Regular people that have
Yeah.
a teacher goes through it. A
Hmm.
nurse goes
Yeah.
through it. Yeah.
So exactly. So so that was the inspiration too. So that's kind of one of the things that came up.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
So as far as that's what's up. So as far as the podcasts go, do you have
Oh
a theme?
yes.
Do you have a theme? Do you know what it's gonna be about? Is it gonna be a mixture of different things?
Are you gonna have a
Um.
co-host or just you?
Well, so I actually reached out when I came up with the idea. I wanted to like have a co-host. And I reached out to some people and they were like, I don't know, because I'm not trying to sound like I'm inventing anything new, but there isn't really anything out there like it. Most Christian
Mm.
podcasts are like, you need God, and that's about it. It's no storytelling, it's no interviewing someone about how they came into the Christianity. There's no, story about struggle. There's no, so it's more preaching the word and just that's about it. So you don't really get to know people. You just, it's more biblical and institutional. So people didn't really understand it yet. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna do it by myself. I have 7 guests lined up, which I'm
Good
super
for
excited about.
you.
Yeah, so we'll see how it
Are we part of
unfolds.
those?
If you want to be, I can come on, man. Let's go. Let's do it. I don't mind. I told you already. I'm like, listen, man, I'm with everything, bro. And I'm. Go ahead.
My
What you
fault.
had to do was the way, EL Discipline did. He just kind of said, guess what? We're doing a podcast and you're going to do it with me. And I
Yeah.
had no choice. I was like, okay.
Yo,
I cried about it
my father,
secretly, silently, but
my
here
father,
I am.
my father's a reverend. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you were telling me
So
that.
is my mom. They weren't always reverends, but it's
Hmm.
just something like they've been reverends for like 6 years now. And I'll tell him to go on your show because
Yeah, I'm with it.
he's always trying to come on my show, like, oh, when you gonna have me on your show? I'm like, Poppy, like
No.
this is content that you don't even, it's too wild for you. Like you really trying to come
Yeah,
on my show? Now I'm gonna have to watch my language. Now I'm gonna have to,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I
I would
told him that.
actually love to see that, your dad on the show and
You
having to
should,
watch
man.
you squirm.
No,
You should.
no, I'm not doing that. He's an alpha male. It's gonna be like a, you know, we'll
You
be
deal with
bumping
him.
heads.
Yeah, right. She's like, I'm just gonna mute mine. Yeah, I'll go ahead. Like that's what
Yeah,
she was gonna do.
that's funny. So you're going to do it by yourself, but you're going to have guests
Yeah,
on, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
So that's the
Now, will
goal
you
to have a
have
guest every show.
any kind of guests? Like, will you have people who are in religion and people who don't who aren't in a
Um,
religion but are spiritual?
yeah. So like people that are, most of them are gonna be Christians. So
He's like,
nothing's obvious. No, 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 no. The reason why is because I kind of want to, so the show is going to be enlightened, NLTN. So it's abbreviated, is the way I abbreviate, just to enlighten people about Christianity. So yeah, I could, I may just have some guests on there too. But most of it's going to be, listen, like this is how they came about it. This is some of the struggles that they have and that they went through, and that
and
you
how
can
they
kind of
came out
take
of it.
notes. Yeah, just to
Hmm.
enlighten people. So it's not going to be like the super, we're just going to read the Bible for an hour. It's not going to be like
Oh
that.
Lord,
Yeah,
good.
so.
I ain't coming on that one.
So, but it is true though, and that's the thing. That's one disconnect I feel that people have, and it's kind of like, oh well, like I go to the clubs
Wait,
too. I just don't go crazy. I have friends of mine that are drug dealers too. I mean, listen, like if you really the most,
I'm sorry. You're
I'm
like, I
being
got friends
honest.
too.
Yeah,
Listen,
like, but let's look at
drug
it.
dealers are not a bad thing.
That just it threw me off. He was like, I got
Being a
drug dealer
drug
friends
dealer,
too.
being a
I'm just
drug
saying
dealer is
because
not a bad thing.
if you really look
Because
at it, like I
there's
mean,
two
if you look at
types
the
of
12,
drug
go ahead.
dealers. There's an on the clock drug dealer and there's a entrepreneur drug dealer. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Well,
that's
what I
what
mean by that is, if you look at the 12 disciples, they're all different in their own way, right?
Hmm.
And Jesus said it one time when they were looking to murder one of the ladies that had an adultery. He said, "He who has never sinned, cast the first stone."
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna sit here, yeah, we're supposed to not judge what most people do is they judge with preconceived notions.
Mm,
Um, people will make decisions in their life that they're going to go through things. Every decision that everything that you do has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. You know, if you touch a hot stove, it's going to burn your hand. If
mm,
if you make good sound investments, you're going to be wealthy. So every decision that you make has some type of consequence. And people that I'm around, though I don't partake in some of those things, but when I'm around them, what I've realized is they don't act the same way, right?
when you're around.
Um, yeah, so
Mm,
that's one thing that I look to do because yeah, I'm just looking to be a light, right? Like that's what he said, just be a light of the world. So I'm not gonna walk around and be like, yeah, I'm better than you. You can't be around me. You know, if I grew up with a guy like from childhood and he made the wrong decisions, that's okay. You know, and one of the things in the book too is, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but so one of the guys that he knows, he literally tries to preach the word to him. And I see that don't happen as often as they used
no.
to. I don't see pastors going to churches and praying for the guys in prison. I don't see, they go
Mm,
to jail. Oh, well, he's going to jail. He made wrong decisions. No, go and pray for him, and go and meet up with him. Go and, you know, you look at the Muslim community, they do that heavy,
mm-hmm.
and guys go to jail. Most of them come out Muslim. The reason why, because they're constantly preaching the word. They're constantly with them. They're constantly linking up with them, checking up on them. How are you, brother? But I feel like a lot of times, we and I didn't say we because people in general, but Christians for most is I'm gonna walk you know differently, and because I'm a Christian, I'm better than you, and that's not
Mm.
how
Well,
it's
I feel the
supposed to
same.
be.
That's how I feel like Catholics are because I was brought up Catholic. My father is heavy, Catholic, goes to church and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I've always felt like when it comes to religion, there's all religion has one common denominator, and that's their God.
Hmm.
Correct? So then
Yeah.
why do we have all these break off religions? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we have Catholic, we have Baptist, we have
Hmm.
Christian.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I personally, myself,
Yeah. It's
I don't understand why each one of them is like, well, no, my religion is better than
right.
yours because blah blah blah. You all worship the same God.
Hmm.
It's the same one.
It's so what tends to I think happen is the Bible is a book of context, right? Um, so it depends on how
Ooh.
you read it. And what most religions do is they take one verse and they use that verse as their proof. It's kind of like law. If you go to court, right? We take
Mm,
one thing. Oh, we saw you on camera at 12 a.m. in this building, but you don't know if he was leaving or going, right?
right,
Like it's the same thing with the Bible. It's like, oh, this verse says this. Yeah, but did you read the verse before, the verse after? Like,
right.
one of the most common verses is, oh, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But you don't even know who wrote it. Most people don't even know who wrote it. I mean, he was in
I
jail when he
don't.
wrote that. Yeah, yeah,
Is
like
that Philippians 4:13?
13. Yeah, and he was
I'm
in jail. So
logging
he
off
was.
now.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I told D,
First
I
of
was like,
all,
I don't
no
want.
fair. You're Christian. His parents are what are they? Deacons? No, pastors,
Reference.
reverends.
Same, yeah.
You guys are
Nah, you're
heavy.
good.
I
You're
don't.
good. But
Am I
see,
the
but
only
this
heathen
is
here?
this is the purpose of
Um,
my podcast when it does come out, so that you don't
Yes.
feel out of place when that conversation comes up. You feel me? So that's the
Mm-hmm.
problem. There's always a disconnect. It's kind of, and I know you're joking, but that's what most people do. They go, okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna tune out now, take my headphones
Yes.
off because this is what
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's what I think the disconnect is that a lot of religions, even though they're all Christians with different denominations, they take certain things and use it to uh
The
their
way they want to
seasoning.
teach it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So which, hey, to each his own. I don't, like I said, it's your life.
Well,
You do
I,
what
I
you want to
think also
do, so
that's another thing that pushes people away is like I've been accosted by not just Christians, not just Catholics, but and they all kind of want to force it upon you, and we got to go.
okay. We got a couple minutes, I
well,
guess. Okay. I mean, I could stay on for another like 2 minutes or so, because I gotta take
so
my
what
son.
what we'll do
But
is what we'll do is finish what you're saying, Sue, and then we'll do our final thoughts.
okay.
No, I
All
don't
right,
have to
cool. Go
finish it.
ahead, sir.
It's no.
Well, then
I already forgot.
one, nah, that's cool. Like, but I know what you were alluding to, and I'll just say this real quick before we close out is that one thing I challenge Christians of all religion or anyone, that religion or not, is, but let's say a man walks into a church and he says, "Hey, I used to be a heavy gangbanger. I murdered 20 people." Will you put your arms around him?
Yes.
That's the question. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
yeah, like that's the question. If he walks into a church and say, "Hey, I've done these things. I'm looking for saving. Like this is the only place that the doors are open that I could walk into." How will he be perceived?
Mm.
Most people are like, "Oh, you're a gangbanger." I don't know. Like I'm not. I don't know if I could get it. Like I can't be seen with you type of thing. And that's where I think it comes down to. We're supposed to be a religion of love.
Yeah.
That's just in general. You look at even the temperature of things that are going on today.
Oh.
Like we need it more now than ever before,
Oh
but
yeah.
a lot of it's not to be found, and are we giving money to the schools? Are we giving money to the people that are in need? And are we feeding the without bringing our phones and posting it? Are we feeding the
Yeah.
poor? Are
Mm-hmm.
so just all these things could be talked about, but we go on for days. But
I can't wait
yeah,
for you to get your podcast.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
It sounds like
Appreciate
it's
that.
gonna be really good.
I appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you.
We're gonna bring you on again for another topic too.
I'm
So
with it, man.
on the
You know
show we
me. I'm
like
with it.
yeah, on the show we like to do final thoughts. So do you have any final thoughts? And it could be anything. Food for thought for the audience, whatever.
Um, I think, we talked about a lot of different topics today. I think one thought would just be to thy own self be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just know yourself and be comfortable with your own skin, whether you're an alpha or not. I know we joked about the alpha thing earlier. If you're a man and you feel like you're not an alpha guy, like that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's a lady out there for you, and if you're a female and, you are looking for a particular type of male, listen, if you know what you want, go out there and get it. But it's what you want. You have to be happy because it's your life and you're gonna live in it. So
That is very good food for thought. I just want
Mhm.
to thank you for coming onto the show. I
thank you
think
for having me.
you have a lot to say. I think your books are going to be phenomenal. I want to
Thank
read
you.
one.
Thank you. Thank
You
you. I'll
should
get you a
send one.
copy for sure. You and Eve.
I was
Done
about to
deal.
say you should send one to
Done
the
deal.
Discipline Therapy
Done deal.
podcast.
I'm gonna send two. One for each. I got it. No
All
problem.
right.
I'd
And
rather
thank you for coming on.
I'd
No
rather
problem.
pay
Thank you
I'd
for having
rather
me.
pay I'd rather pay for it.
My
Me
guy. But
too.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
got
I'd
you. I
rather
got
pay
you.
for it.
No,
Um
don't, why you gotta do that, man?
He's going to pay for mine.
Thank
yeah,
you. You
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
You still
we'll
get
pay
yours
for
free.
it.
Don't worry about
Because
that.
I'm all
That's
about
right.
listen, I'm all about supporting black businesses, man. You know
My
what I'm saying?
guy.
There needs to be more black
Yep.
businesses out there, like restaurants and stuff like this, so we could go to instead of us, going to all these big, high, upscale white restaurants that they don't want us to
Yeah.
be there. You know what I'm saying? Let's support our own
Yeah.
people. You know what I'm saying? This is what's gonna stop the systemic racism
100.
if we come
Mm-hmm.
together and we start supporting our own brand. Somebody comes out with a clothing line, start supporting that. Somebody comes out with a podcast, book, whatever, black, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Black, Spanish, support each
Yeah.
other.
I agree.
My final thoughts are I believe souls meet prior to flesh meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Because we live in a spiritual realm, not a physical realm. There's a big misconception. And
Hmm.
I feel like you and I connected for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. I
See, that's
agree.
why I kept seeing you at the gym. We kept saying hello to each other. It could have been my grandmother. She kicked me in the head, my late grandmother, or something. They go talk to him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
I
So
appreciate you,
I
man.
believe that I believe that we meet for a reason. We don't meet by accident. You
I
know
agree.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what I'm
Energy
saying?
is big. I mean,
Yeah,
even in batteries, you take,
yeah, yeah,
they can't, some batteries, even there's no force, you don't see
yeah,
it, but they can't link.
yeah.
You literally
Mm-hmm.
put them next to the two magnets, they'll go the other way. So
Yep.
I'm big. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that. And that's
Absolutely.
true.
So I'm happy that you came on, and we plan to bring you on for the other topic. Get
Yeah,
spicy with that
that's
one.
fine.
We take
Yeah, yeah.
the suit off. We take the suit off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right, right,
saying?
right, right.
And we
Yep.
kind of just get into it. We're gonna
Yeah.
get,
Oh boy.
but
I'm with that. I'm with that.
once again, ladies and gentlemen, you were tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast.
Peace.
Thank
Peace.
y'all. Peace and love.